Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like it's green right off the bat. Hopefully that's good. For all of you out there that are... Well, when I say all of you, all 50 of you. Alright, let's see. Looks like the stream's pretty good. Yeah, tonight we're going to do what we were talking about a while ago. We're going to go over these serial killers cases that have been unsolved officially. And so we're going to start off on tonight with the Honolulu Strangler, and eventually when all 5 have been covered, then I'm going to make a YouTube video that has the 5 in it, but it's all in shorter form. You know, it's not like it's going to do a deep dive, but these will be sort of the what do you call it? Kind of the research that will lead to the final video. All right. And tonight, Ada's on here with me, since she's the one that came up with the actual idea and looked into, did a lot of the research on and put together like a Word document. All right. So we can just wait a couple minutes. I think Ada's walking around. You can always tell when you hear something clanking and bashing. She forgot. Just like when my wife goes in and does dishes. Hello.
It's not me.
Oh, come on. There was a sound. I heard it like a clank. That's not... I'm not touching anything. All right, let's see. Has to be. Because, well, the thing is even if it's the smallest thing, it'll just sound like a lot. I'm not sure why, but...
Yeah, it's somebody else walking around. Hang on.
Oh, you mean in your house? Yeah. Well, yeah, of course it's... Yeah, I'm not saying it's you, but it's coming out of your phone. Yeah. All right, let's see. Well, the way we're going to start it off is, Ada has this little Word document with there's 5 victims in the, when I say 5 victims, those are the 5, there's 5 women that they've associated with the Honolulu Strangler, although it's possible that there's more. It seems like there's other people missing, but they didn't associate them with the Honolulu Strangler. So, they didn't associate them as being part of the same serial killer. So there's 5 of them, and then she wrote down sort of a summary. She'll go over those, and then we'll go into each one individually and then try to plot it out on a map. All right? Get everything set up. So let me turn down this music a little bit. How's the audio, by the way? Is it clear or any kind of muffling sound? Okay, it's clear. All right. Let's see. So she's going to read the part that she created in Word, and then we're going to go over each one. But let me get set up in here on the in Google Earth. No, that's not it. Honolulu, there it is. All right, so why don't you start off by reading that first, or maybe you can even put in read your intro to it too, right? Because that would be, give people at least a little idea, and then just read.
Okay, yeah. So this is the Honolulu Strangler. And it was a series of murders back in the 80s. I think it was 85 and 86. And the Honolulu Strangler took 5 lives, and the case remains unsolved to this day. And the bodies were all found near water, having been strangled, raped, and bound. So the first victim was age 25, Vicky Purdy.
Yeah.
And
So go ahead.
on May 29th, 1985, Vicky had planned to meet her friends to go clubbing in Waikiki. That evening, she drove her car into town and parked in the garage at the Shorebird Hotel. She never actually met up with her friends as planned, and her movements are pretty much unknown that evening. She was last seen by a taxi driver at about 12 a.m. when he picked her up at a place called the Blue Water Cafe and took her
What happened?
half a mile to retrieve her car at the Shorebird Hotel. The following morning, her body was found on an embankment at the Kihai Lagoon, wearing the yellow jumpsuit she had on the night before, and her hands had been bound behind her back, and she had been raped and strangled.
Yeah. So that she was at the Shorebird Hotels where her car was, right?
Yeah, she parked it in the garage.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like a covered, I'm assuming it was like a covered garage type place.
It's kind of weird because she went into town to meet up with friends and then parked at the Shorebird Hotel, and then she called her friends like around 10 something, and they didn't answer, right? And then, or they answered, but
Yeah.
I mean, they answered, but, and she was even going to come meet up with them. But then she never, I mean, it's kind of bizarre because then at midnight she's driven back to her car by a cab, right? So it's weird. Like, where was she? Because she did go over to the Blue Water Cafe in the middle of that time, right? But she never met up with the friends.
Yeah, we don't know what time exactly.
Yeah, she never really met up with the friends. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to the... let me switch screens here. You know, sometimes it's harder sometimes when you have 3 screens because, you know, you're confused at where everything is. It was almost easier with 2, but eventually I'll get used to it.
Did she go into town like 8:30 or something that early? I can't remember if that's what her husband said.
Yeah, I think he actually mentions that in this breakdown here. Because this is an article from, I believe it's May 14th, 1986. The Honolulu Star-Bulletin did a breakdown of all 5 of the women, which is really, it was only about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks after the last murder. Okay, so here we go. According to her husband, Vicky Gale Purdy was not a woman to be messed with. Earlier in their marriage, when problems surfaced, she had knocked the shit out of me, basically, is probably what it says. Gary Purdy, now Chief Warrant Officer in the 24th Aviation Battalion at Hunter Army Airfield near Savannah, Georgia, said he's 6 feet and 165 pounds, and his wife was a very strong person. She was also streetwise, knew who not to trust, and was so tough it would take 2 people to abduct her, he said. Vicky Purdy's body was found a year ago, dumped off an embankment at the edge of Kihai Lagoon. When she was 16, Vicky Gale Ezel married Gary Purdy's cousin. She met Gary after that relationship broke up. According to her stepmother, James Foreman, they finished high school in Marietta, Georgia, and Gary was about to enter the Army. She had lots of interests, said Gary Purdy, and let's see. She had a great love for life. She was the backbone of our family. If it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't have become an officer. The Purdys had been married 5 years and in Hawaii 16 months when Vicky went to Waikiki the night of went to Waikiki the night of May 29th, never to return home. There had been trying times early in the marriage, but things were looking up. Vicky was born to a clan that stretches across North Carolina. Her parents, Judson and Barbara Ezel, divorced when she was a young child. Barbara's next husband, James Foreman, helped raise Vicky. Eventually, that marriage broke up. Vicky lived in a foster home for a while, recalled her stepbrother. Contacted by telephone in Gadsden, Alabama. She was a cheerleader, played softball. She always went skating, roller skating. Yes, she was very pretty. After Vicky and Gary moved to Hawaii, I never did hear from her, Foreman said. I seen her one Christmas. She always wrote Mom. They depended on her some. They worried a lot, too. No one ever got to see her after she got married. Vicky had mixed feelings, about life in Hawaii. She always wanted to go there, Gary Purdy said, but it wasn't what she expected. She had a lot of girlfriends and a lot of bad friends, I guess. Now here's what happened that night. Purdy had kissed his wife goodbye early on a Wednesday evening, expecting her to be back home around 9 p.m. He didn't consider her solo trip unusual until she was late. My wife and I had, let's say, an adventurous life, but in 5 years of marriage, she had never once stayed out. You see, what's weird about this whole thing is that's 9 p.m. he's expecting her home.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like she didn't even get started till way after that. You know what I mean?
I know.
So that's what's kind of weird. It's a weird deal.
Does that adventurous life mean they had an open marriage, or hard to tell?
Yeah, that's hard to tell. But I did that did cross my mind when I originally read that.
Yeah.
But definitely doesn't say that, so that's just speculation. Let's see. That night, Purdy called her over and over on a telephone paging system they shared. He described his frantic, sweeping search for her the next day. He found her car with a fresh dent in the Shorebird Hotel parking garage. See, that's a little bit interesting, too, that part. But, I mean, the thing is she was being dropped off by the cab driver, saw her there at midnight, right?
Yeah.
So it's just...
And the cafe where she was, or bar, whatever it was only like half a mile away from there.
Right, so when would the dent have happened, It just doesn't seem like... doesn't even seem like it was that day, really. I mean, it just... Because when would it have been? Like, she dropped it off there sober, right? And then went out to... Then went to the cafe, and then later was brought back, but the car never left there, so how would it have gotten the dent? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. He found her car with a fresh dent in the Shorebird Hotel parking garage in Waikiki. She called friends. She'd called friends in the Waikiki area at 10 p.m., but never showed up as planned. So then you think, oh, wow, that's something nefarious happened, right? A cab driver called to say he had driven her from the Blue Water Cafe back to the Shorebird at midnight. So now it takes the whole thing with the friends is kind of meaningless, really. It's like she's still alive and she got a cab ride home. Maybe she just, like you suggested, maybe she, went to a cafe and was striking up a conversation and having a good time, right?
Yeah, or she could have had a planned meeting with somebody, or met someone,
right.
And decided to blow off the meeting with friends.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she's having an affair with somebody.
Right. Yeah.
And the friends were just kind of an alibi, although it doesn't sound like they knew about they wouldn't have supported her alibi because they didn't have a clue, right?
Right. But there is, amount of time that's not known, like 4 hours.
Let's see. But never showed up as planned. A cab driver called to say he'd driven her from the Blue Water Cafe, so that's right here. So she had parked here. Wait, you guys can't see it. Hold on, let me go. See, that's what I'm saying. All right, so she had parked over here at the Shorebird Hotel and probably, I guess, maybe took a cab over to Blue Water Cafe because it's not just a tiny walk, but it's like a mile, right? I think. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's just get a.
So they don't have any historical pictures that far back, I'm guessing.
Actually, it's only a half mile, so she
Yeah.
could have walked there earlier, but then just didn't feel like walking back.
Yeah.
So she took a cab from Blue Water Cafe back to the Shorebird Hotel. Yeah. And so she was dropped off at the hotel, but her car never left, and then all of a sudden she ends up dead. I mean, it's just so weird. Like somebody must have been right there, and her body was found way over here on the side of this bank in the water.
Somebody could have reparked the vehicle back in the same spot, possibly.
Yeah, and then maybe that would explain the dent, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so let's say she's about ready to get into her car, and he kind of mugs her, throws her into the car, then he drives away, rapes her, kills her, and then drives back and puts it right where it was originally to take suspicion. That's pretty good, yeah. Actually, that's not a bad plan or a theory, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. They wouldn't know exactly where she parked, just that she was parked in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, nobody would have known what. And so he probably would have worn gloves and that kind of thing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so she was found about.
Is that shorebird still there, or is that gone?
Yeah, there's Shorebird, I think, is, but the other place isn't.
Okay.
I mean, they have different names, but. It's about 5.5 miles from the hotel as the crow flies where she was found. All right, so then it says Purdy left Hawaii shortly afterwards. He said, I couldn't handle it anymore. His Mililani house is under foreclosure because my income dropped in half. She was making good money. Vicky worked at Wahiwa Video Rental. Oh yeah, and there's stuff related to that, right? Purdy said, according to a new owner of what was once the Wahiwa Adult Bookstore, that rental outlet was part of the same operation. Let's see. Which has changed its name and management. Last December, 2 women, a part owner and an employee, were found stabbed to death in the videotape outlet. So like, there must be like a drive-through that you get the videotapes from or something at the time. I'm not sure what that means, outlet. Maybe they're just talking about that store, maybe the whole store is an outlet. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
But it says in the video. Well, let's see. Purdy, who said he was unaware of the December deaths, objected to interference by the media that the store was sleazy. The shop simply rented films, he said. Well, they did rent pornographic films. That's kind of what they did, right? I mean, it doesn't make them sleazy per se, because I mean, if it's literally just a video store and people go in and buy videos, and there's no kind of weirdness going on, then other than that's what they're buying, that sleazy to me means like when you go inside, there's some shady people standing around, a lot of weirdness, Let's see. For example, call girls, right? Like compare call girls to street, hookers right on an avenue, right? Oh, Gray, I can't believe you said hookers. Listen, the thing is, like a call girl, you wouldn't call a lot of them sleazy, right? I mean, they're high end. I mean, they drive nice cars and all this kind of stuff. But you would call somebody on a street corner that just got done with somebody else and went to another one. That'd be a little sleazy, right? I mean, that's
or maybe a massage parlor.
Yeah, so it's just sort of a perception of it. But like a video store, it's only sleazy if it is sleazy, right? Like it doesn't matter what kind of videos you're selling. I mean, as long as they're legal pornographic video, I would say. So anyways, that's what the husband was trying to defend. Okay, so I'm making the case for what the husband said. I really don't give a damn. Oh my God, is it sleazy or not? I mean, who cares? All right, so Yeah, that was one of the interesting things. Is at the same store that she worked at, there were 2 murders not long before. So, I guess that's the story of what was her name? First name. All of a sudden, I can't remember her first. I'm looking at the chart over here. Hold on a second. Vicky. It's Vicky Gale Purdy. All right, and there's very few pictures of her out there. I mean, there's just like all there really is that one black and white, basically. That's in this article. This is the only one that I've seen, right there.
So you're using the
No, you can't see it.
subscription?
Yeah, this thing right here. Right there.
And just
There-
one article about her?
Yeah, that's the only time. Well, there's other articles about her. Let's see. I've got. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, I mean, like this is one of the first articles that came out. The body of a Mililani woman was found at 7 a.m. yesterday at the water's edge of Kihei Lagoon, dumped down an embankment off Kaliwa Street. So let's see where Kaliwa Street is. I think I'm just going to move this over here like this. Yep. Just a second. Kalewa. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and see that's right where this is on a map. So this is where I saw it on a map. Her body was right here on this, just dumped right there. And if you look right now, we haven't gone over the other ones yet, but look how close all the other bodies are. They're all in the same general area. And
So
I mean, one of them's not from there, but I don't know if I have that one. Let's see. Oh,
how
yeah.
would the person get the person there, like by car and then dragging?
Yeah. And it's kind of, these are kind of secluded areas if you look at it. I mean, they're really just kind of in an industrial type areas of the city. But there's one that's a little further away, Medeiros, that we'll be talking about. But again, I think she was just dumped off the side of the bridge there, something like that.
And then in 1985, 86, it's probably a lot less built up.
Yeah, probably a lot less buildings there. So let me get back to that article. She was identified as Vicky Gale Purdy, 25, of Kaulani Avenue. Her husband reported her missing when she failed to return home yesterday morning from night clubbing. He told homicide detectives he just saw her at 7:55. See, that's kind of, that's what's weird is he saw her at 7:55, but he expected her home by 9. See,
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah. And Wednesday, like she would have left and got there at 8:30, right? And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, but then you got to turn around and just say hello and then drive back and be home at 9.
And then how far was her house from Waikiki?
I don't know if I couldn't find her house because, they probably just live there a little bit of time and it doesn't show up in.
Or the town, rather, I guess.
Yeah.
How far?
Let's see. Well, let's see. Let's see. Mililani, right? Let's just see how far away it is. Blue is getting upset. You hear that?
You hear something?
Probably. Yeah, it's like 10 miles, So in a city like that, people a little slower. I'd say 15 minutes both ways, probably.
Okay. So 8:15-ish, she gets to Waikiki. Yeah, he wouldn't expect her back at 9. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. It almost seems like he just sort of threw that out there. And it doesn't even make sense with anything else at all. I don't think has an affair, like there's some weirdness about him. I just think
Yeah.
Her car was found later yesterday in a Waikiki hotel parking lot near the club, homicide detective Andrew Klashenko said. When her body was found yesterday by a salesman walking to work in the lagoon area, she was wearing a bright yellow cotton jumpsuit, and there were signs that she had been strangled, police said. The city medical examiner's office was to determine the cause of death. Detectives said no shoes and no personal effects were found with the body or in the area. A small neighborhood of light industries off Lagoon Drive, less than a mile from the old Nimitz Highway. Detectives said she may have been killed elsewhere and her body then taken to the area. Homicide detectives were in Waikiki last night trying to get information at the club where she was believed to have been, especially whether she was seen leaving with anybody. All right. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see. Detectives said she may have been killed elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, probably if her shoes aren't there, right? I mean, or I guess the guy could have taken the shoes, or they could have been on her right then, and he just took them to hide. You know, who knows? But
Yeah.
I mean, I think your theory that you just came up with a little bit ago is probably the better of one, where
He got her in the car and then put the car back.
then he put the car back. That's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
yeah,
you'd think someone would see something, he's dragging her off.
yeah. I'm sure somebody would have seen something at the hotel or heard something. It wasn't that late. I mean, I don't know. Midnight's not that late, really, in a town like that where people are partying and
Exactly. It's nice and warm out, tropical.
All right. So what do you guys think so far? You okay with this sort of the way we're going over this? Because now we're going to move on to the second person. I'm just trying
So
to
he knows that you're going to make a video out of all of these, like a top 5.
Yeah, it's going to be a top 5 video of the no. So this is the first case. So there's 5 victims here. Who knows how many are in the next case? And there's 5 cases that Ada wanted me to make a top 5 on. But I thought, hey, well, why don't we do shows where we kind of research each of them and then get to know the cases, and then I'll put that together, right? So
if anybody watches those top 5s, they're usually like 15 minutes.
Top 5 unknown serial killers. 10. Right.
Okay.
So anyways, here comes the next one.
Just 1 second.
Well, let me get, I don't even know where I am. Okay, I gotta get rid of that one.
Okay, should I say the next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the second person is Regina Sakamoto, age 17. Regina had missed her bus from Waipahu to school on January 14, 1986, and was last heard from by her boyfriend at 7:15 a.m. when she called to tell him that she would be late. She was last seen in a phone booth in front of Diner's Diner in Waipahu. And then on January 15th, her body was found at Kihai Lagoon wearing her blue tank top and white sweatshirt, but her lower body was unclothed. And similar to Vicky Purdy, her hands were bound behind her back and she had been raped and strangled.
Okay. So now I'm going to go over the profile that they, again, put in the paper about 3 weeks after the last murder. All right, this one, again, Regina Sakamoto. See, when I heard Sakamoto, I thought maybe she was from Japan, but all of the victims are Caucasian. I mean, maybe her dad is, that's definitely a Japanese name, or maybe, well, she's only 17, so she wasn't married or anything, so I don't know. I don't know how she has a Sakamoto last name, but...
So that was actually the first murder, and the second murder was just 6 months in between, I think.
Well, Vicky was the first murder.
Yeah, so May 85 to January 86.
Yeah, there's like 6 months, right?
6 months.
Yeah, so those are those who are willing to talk about Luha High School senior Regina Sakamoto. Remember her as shy but friendly and extremely close to her mother and a high school mother and a high school girlfriend. The senior class advisor, Irene Rivera, recalled Regina as a sophomore who had painted a banner for homecoming and was active in her class council. She was very careful, very kind, and then a very thoughtful person, said postal worker Maurice Sakamoto, Regina's stepfather. She wasn't going in. Okay, so there you go. There's the answer. Maurice Sakamoto is her stepfather. I was actually thinking maybe her mother got married, but I didn't get to even say it out. She wasn't going in anybody's car. Regina, 17, was found dead January 15th in Kihei Lagoon. She disappeared after missing an early morning bus to school from Waipahu. A snapshot shows a lively face, high cheekbones, shiny blondish hair, a cheerleader kind of smile, a girl becoming a woman, and enthusiastic about life. She was born in Kansas when her mother, also named Regina, was married to Ben Arnett. When Maurice Sakamoto met Regina Arnett in California on a military base, young Regina was living with her grandmother. Sakamoto and Arnett married, and he adopted the child when she was 5 or 6 and had helped raise her until she was 16. But in the past 2 years after the Sakamoto's divorce, Maurice lost touch with his stepdaughter, although she continued to commute from Waipahu to Lilahua. Hi, I mean, I don't know how to pronounce all these Hawaiian names.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Hawaiian names can be hard sometimes.
Wahiwa, where he lives. Regina's mother moved to another part of Oahu after her daughter's death and has had her telephone disconnected. Sakamoto was leery about talking to the Star Bulletin, feeling any further publicity could be dangerous. He and school officials have kept Regina's mother, schoolmates, advisors away from the media. Then there are the feelings and bitterness surrounding divorce. He felt Regina was allowed too much freedom, and he was unhappy about his daughter's move to Waipahu, or maybe it's like Waiapahu or something, with her mother following the divorce. I thought she was putting herself on the line by living down there with her Caucasian features. They just don't mix. We do have transients, but not the crook type like down there. High transient ghetto type families. I firmly believe she stood out because she was Caucasian. Sakamoto also disapproved of his stepdaughter's choice of boyfriends. That's why she didn't come around. Was that just a protective father speaking? Probably. I was the one who put the foot down. She's a really good girl. Sakamoto is skeptical that justice will ever be served in his daughter's case. He says the judicial system is weak and caters to the greedy and powerful. From the very time I realized my daughter was murdered, I gave it to the Lord. I have no remorse or bad feelings. I just pray. See, it's weird. He was kind of accurate, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Now, wasn't this the one? Wasn't she last? I think I do have a one on her too. So this is Regina Sakamoto. Let's see. All right. Police are seeking help in solving the murder of student whose body was found floating in Kihei Lagoon yesterday morning. So this is like right fresh when this happened. The body of Regina L. Sakamoto, 17, of Awane Street, Waipahu, was found a few feet offshore near an access road off Lagoon Drive. So I think, let's see.
So her town was also.
Like she's right here. Like
Okay.
I think this is probably, yeah, there's Lagoon Drive right there. And this is where the map had it. So she was just found again in the same freaking lagoon. I mean, here's where Vicky Purdy was found, right there.
So her abduction was in the morning, and the first one would have been
Yeah,
around midnight. Okay.
late at night. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, it doesn't look like very many people got the notification. Something's kind of weird's going on with my channel right now. I just want to let you guys know, like earlier today when I put out that video, it said that there was 117 views for like 10 hours. Not 10, but like 3 hours. It said 117. And there would be like 130 likes on it. Like, how can there be 130 likes but 117 views? And then about 20 minutes later I checked and there was 711. It was like the exact reverse number. So I don't know what's going on. I think I'm in one of those things where they didn't put out notifications again, because 136 is a lot lower than normal, but it could be that it's Saturday. And
Yeah, I didn't get a notification.
And people actually have other things to do. Who knows?
What? On a Saturday night?
Yeah. But I don't. That's why I'm here. Actually, I'd rather do this, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Sakamoto, a senior at the Lilahua High School, was last seen at 8 a.m. Tuesday leaving her home for school. Her family reported her missing Tuesday evening after she failed to return. About 10:30 a.m. yesterday morning, a morning stroller saw her body near the access road which leads to the airport station at the Reef runway. Police said the body had marks that showed she was murdered, although they would not be specific. Sakamoto was clothed only in a white long-sleeved t-shirt with Hawaiian Island creation printed on the sleeves and a logo on the chest. She also wore a pair of pearl earrings and a watch with a white strap. Sakamoto was Caucasian, 4'11", 105 pounds, with greenish blue eyes. She really small, yeah. Eyes and shoulder length, dark blonde hair. Anyone with information, I don't have to give you that because that number probably doesn't even. All right, so I thought there was. This might not be the one that was in a phone booth then, right?
Yes, she was the one that was last seen in the phone booth.
Yeah.
At Diner's Diner.
I thought that was in. Let me see. Let me check.
Regina, right?
Let me open up the other one. All right. Okay, so I think we're right here again. A fisherman found the Wahapu girl's partially clothed body floating near the diamond. Sources said Sakamoto was seen at a telephone booth near a bus stop on Tuesday morning. It was probably from there that she telephoned her boyfriend to tell him that she had missed the bus. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was reading that earlier, because it seemed like she was never late for school, and then you could tell she was like, be paranoid. And then I could imagine, I wonder what the boyfriend said, but somebody probably drove by and said, "Hey, do you need some help?" And I'm heading that way anyways, or something, right? And got her. And sources said Sakamoto was seen at the telephone booth near a bus stop on Tuesday morning. It was probably from there that she telephoned her boyfriend to tell him that she had missed the bus and would be late for school. So all she was doing was calling him to tell him she was going to be late, not for a ride. She did not show up for classes that day. Her family reported her missing when she failed to return home that evening. Homicide detectives are asking anyone who might have seen her Tuesday or early Wednesday to phone them. Yeah.
I think I had read that they suspect a couple of the victims might have been waiting at bus stops.
Yeah.
And he offered them a ride, possibly. That was just a speculation I had seen. So she probably went to get the next bus, and maybe somebody, since she was already late, she accepted a ride.
Right. Let's see. So I think we're on to the next one then. I don't think there's any.
Okay. Denise Hughes, age 21.
No relation.
Denise Hughes,
no relation. Okay.
No relation.
Yeah.
Denise Hughes left her home in Pearl City, Hawaii on the morning of January 30th, 1986. So that's only like 2 weeks after the murder of Regina Sakamoto. And on the morning of January 30, 1986, to commute to work, but never showed up. 2 days later, on February 1st, her body was found down an embankment in the Moana Lua stream by 3 teenagers who were crab fishing. Her body, wrapped in a blue tarp, was still clothed in the blue dress she had on when she left for work. Her hands were bound behind her back, and she had been raped and strangled.
This is Denise Hughes, right? Let's see. Yeah, so she was found right here. Yeah. I don't know.
How far is that from the other two?
That's pretty close. They're all just like right here. I mean, look. 1, 2, 3. I mean, let's see. Let me get the... It's hard to... I got my cameras right on top of the measuring device. It's crazy. So this is only... Well, that's actually... God, that's crazy. How far do you think that is just looking at that? It's actually 1.37 miles. I wouldn't have thought that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's about the same.
Closer to me, but
it's about the same. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like a half at the most. Of course, you'll get somebody. No, I thought that gray. I always say when I look at it, my I was thinking it was like more like It's amazing how people always do that. Let's see who's going to do that. Probably LJ. Okay. So if you look at that, that's weird. They're all just in here. Well, we're not even to Linda yet, but let's see. So right now we're doing Denise Hughes. So I'm going to go open up that right now. After only 3 months at work as a secretary at Long Distance USA Inc., 21-year-old Denise Renee Hughes had made an impression and some new friends with whom she played racquetball and went shopping. She always had a smile on her face, no matter what, said her supervisor, Donna Turka. The day before excuse me. I was actually reading what Richard was. Yes, Blue is feeling good, Richard. I hope I've got it set up to play. I don't know if I do or not, but thank you, Richard. Just a second. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know if I have anything set up on my to play the super chats. But anyways, I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Friends with, let's see. Denise Renee Hughes had made an impression on some new friends with whom she played racquetball and went shopping. She always had a smile on her face, no matter what, said her supervisor, Donna Paterka. The day before this happened, everyone had the flu. She was working the reception desk, and I said, I can't believe you're always smiling. The next day, that was it. Hughes didn't come to work on January 30th. The night before, she had dined with her husband, who was stationed on board a ship in Pearl Harbor. Her body was found 2 days later along Mauna Lua Stream. A photograph of her shows a round, beaming face surrounded by soft brown curls and bangs. She was tall, 5 feet 8 inches, and hefty, 154 pounds. Hughes had just passed probation at the telephone company and had earned a raise. She was so valued that the company didn't want to replace her. She was just the ideal employee, said Paterka. Hughes had lived in Hawaii for about 5 months. On a vacation here, she met a young Pearl Harbor sailor, Charles Hughes. They married in August in Seattle, and Denise's mother, Linda Jorg of Sonomish near Puget Sound, had a little time to get to know the man who married her daughter. Linda Jorg was 17 when Denise was born. Denise met her natural father, Gary Johnson, for the first time when she was a teenager. She was adopted at 6 and raised by George's current husband, Nick Jorg, who works at AT&T in Washington. Denise's move was a big loss for her mother. Denise's sister, Dory, had died at 16 in a car crash. Oh, man, what a tragedy for her mother. 2 years earlier, Denise became her mother's best friend. Linda, do you think that's just George? I mean, like, just that pronunciation? Like, is it Jorg or George, but just kind of a weird spelling?
How do you spell it?
Jorg. Anyway,
like a Swedish version of George.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like I was thinking Norway or Sweden or something.
Yeah.
Linda Jorg believes Denise's relatively quick decision to move to Hawaii was made in part to seek a more carefree life. Denise had studied at a business college near Everett. Everett, Washington's only, it's probably about, 100 miles from here, where she grew up. When she moved to Hawaii, she quickly found a job. Denise told her mother she was tops in her class in a bank training program, but opted for a job in communications. She was very outgoing, her mother said. She hiked, went sailing. She was in Young Life, a Christian group. She worked all through high school at Hamburger Charlie's. She was secretary of the professional business leaders. She skied. She was very open, very tender-hearted. She felt sorry for people at the drop of a hat. A nice girl. She had her values straight. I think she got married too soon, but that's a mother's opinion. She wasn't so outgoing that she'd accept a ride from someone, Linda George said. Yeah. Sometimes you always wonder if these people sometimes have like a syringe with something and just quickly inject something.
Yeah, put them out.
Yeah, because it's just like sometimes these things just don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because there's no witness to any abduction out of all of them.
Yeah, like if you have a syringe with something in it, you could just put it in there, bang, and they're out like within. Like propofol, for example. That stuff's crazy. Like when I went in for my colonoscopy. TMI, everybody, but like you're out in just instantaneously. There's no time where there's no gradual anything. You're just sitting there and then boom, and then the next thing. Like I've always told people, this is how my colonoscopy went. Okay, we're putting you under, you're done. Okay, that's how it went. Hey, Gray, we're putting you under, you're done. That was that quick. It was just like the same sentence started. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But anyway.
Do they say count backwards?
No. They just said, hey, okay, Gray, we're about to get started. Okay, we're done. It was insane. All right.
You didn't know anything.
Yeah. Well, what was weird is it makes you kind of loopy, and I had the procedure puts a lot of gas in your system, and I guess when I have gas, I get a little bit low blood pressure deal. So they just said, oh yeah, just go ahead and let it all out. So I'm just sitting there blasting away, laughing at all the people around. I didn't really care. I'm like laughing. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But. Yeah, well, it was funny for me. Maybe not the patient who just arrived. Okay.
Yeah.
Although it probably doesn't smell like anything because your bowels are completely empty. You have to drink this gallon or two of like battery acid for a day, and when you get there, there's nothing in there. You're just like an empty vessel. It's crazy.
Is that like a blue liquid or something?
No, it's this clear liquid that. It literally tastes exactly what you would think battery acid would taste like.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Except you can add flavoring. So you can add lemon flavoring to battery acid, everybody. It tastes great. Trust me. All right. Denise's mother feared for her daughter in Hawaii. The Saturday before I talked to her, I felt this need to go over. We were all going over at spring break. Huh. Now, that's sad. It's like got her other daughter dies in a car accident, and then her next
Like
daughter, none of them were
2 years
natural.
before, or how?
Yeah, it was 2 years before. Yeah, none of them were natural. Yeah, wow.
I had read that she like went to the island and was putting flyers everywhere.
Yeah, let me see if I downloaded anything for her. I don't think I did. Let me. I do have the link open. So here's newspaper.com. It's awesome. I had to pay for a subscription, but let's see. Her name is. Yes. So believe it or not, I actually use a lot of the stuff, like the super chats and all that stuff, to just kind of do, even in Patreon, just to pay for all my different bills, which is nice. Because I have a lot of stuff that I buy, like the Adobe Suite and all that stuff. I mean, it's purely for YouTube. Let me. Cool. I'm gonna put this up here. I'm gonna do a find. All right, so. Let's see, hold on a second. Oh wait, that's right, I did a different thing. Search. I was in a whole different segment, because the thing is, it says, okay, go to page B3, but then you have to look up the actual newspaper from that date and then go to B3, because maybe their names aren't mentioned anymore.
Oh.
Like it could just be a continuation, but maybe they don't say the full name. Hey, thanks, Joanna. Sarmento. She said, hello, Gray, Ada, and all us Saturday night freaks. That's right. Okay, Denise Hughes, advanced search, place, Honolulu, and when was that again that she went missing? January 30th?
January 30th, 1986.
Okay, so I'll do like February. Well, when was she found, actually? 2 days later, she was found.
February 1st.
Okay, so I'll do, I see it there. So February 2nd, 1986. That's probably when it would have made the paper.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't, so let's see. I'll do February 3rd.
Wow, and only murdered like 6 months after she moved to Hawaii.
Huge. I just said my own name wrong. Even though I was actually really trying to say it, my mouth just didn't pronounce it. Maybe that's what all those people say, that when they accidentally say it, they go, Gray Hughes.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah. She was found February 1st. Interesting. I wonder what sounds like they didn't really bring her up. She wasn't even in the paper for a while. Let me just switch this to 1986. Yeah, so May, April. Wait, I just saw February right there. Okay, February 13th. On February 1st, the body of Navy wife Denise Hughes, 21, was found along Honolulu stream. She'd been missing at work. Thursday morning, January 30th, she regularly caught the city bus near the Pearls. So what's the circumstances surrounding that, though? So they went to dinner, and did she like leave him at dinner and he got back on his ship and then she went home or something? Or like, I don't really understand that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked that far into her circumstance.
Oh, okay. Look, I think there might be more information right there. I actually didn't realize this kept going. Let's see. She had been missed. She had been missed at work Thursday morning, January 30th. She regularly caught the city bus near the Pearl City. There's that bus association.
Yeah.
Let's see. At Waipoua interchange to her downtown office. The victim also was strangled and possibly sexually assaulted. Monday night, a 23-year-old woman was walking from a Nimitz Highway bus stop towards Radford Terrace Naval Housing when she was accosted. So is this somebody else? I think this is from an article about
Yeah, sounds like
buses to
somebody
get
else.
radios in the war on crime. Okay, so yeah, I mean maybe that's related, but it's not one of the 5 victims here. Huh. All right. So I guess we don't really have as much detail on
Yeah,
that
because
one.
she was seen, I guess, going to work in a blue dress, and that blue dress is what she had on
So
when
they
her
saw
body
her.
was found,
Okay,
but she never made it to work.
so she did go to a like when you say they saw her, was she actually on a bus or something? Where do you see this?
Well, just from my notes, it says that she didn't show up for work on the morning of January 30th, but that her body was found in the blue dress she had on when she left for work. But I don't have more detail than that.
Let me see if I can get. I want to find the article about when she was found. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even look like. Well, February 6th. Let's see. Is this? Yeah. They actually give her address. Maybe we should type that in.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they usually don't do that. So I'm gonna put it in over here. So 1060 KME HAMEHA Highway. What does that say? 21 of 1060. Yeah, so that is it. Yeah, so the killer probably lived out in this area, because if you notice, he was over here, and then he maybe got a little bit lazy with the Louise Medeiros situation, and then look where she lived here. I don't know.
I can't see. Do you have that
Oh
map
yeah,
up?
sorry, yeah, I got it over here. Yeah, there you go. That's every show. I gotta have at least a minute where I don't do. Yeah, so if you got Louise Medeiros that we haven't got to, she's way up there, but the original stuff was down here. But look where. This is where she lived, the Denise Hughes. Right there.
I'm still seeing the article on my screen. Okay.
Wow, you must be way behind.
Oh wait, okay. Never mind, I got it.
Yeah, so maybe she lived in that big tall apartment complex right there. Looks like. Maybe it wasn't there back then, though. Maybe it was something else.
Maybe when we do the video, we could find some older images.
Let's see. Renee Hughes, 21 of 1060, 1402 Pearl City, died February 1st, 1986. She was born in Everett, Washington. And she was employed by Long Distance USA Service. This is the chapel arrangements. So it's got to be one that was, just when she was found. And then you see her a lot in a bunch of different articles. After, then she was associated with the rest of them.
Yeah, so it was then that they started putting it together as a serial situation.
Yeah, well, it was after the next one, I think. So I think we're ready for Louise Medeiros. If you want to.
Okay. Louise Medeiros was age 25, left her home in Honolulu on March 26, 1986, to fly to Kauai for the reading of her mother's will. So she went during the day, and then that same night, she took a 7:40 flight back to Honolulu Airport, and she had told her family that she would get home by bus from the airport.
See, another. And what was the first one again?
The first.
Yeah, that was. Are you still there? You kind of cut out.
You
cut out first. Yeah, the first one was just the dropped off at a cab. But you notice how there's always some sort of transportation or something involved with these, you know? It's always about traveling.
Yeah, the first one was a taxi.
Right, and there's a taxi, but then, you know, like it just, she's heading to her car. And then you got these other
Regina
three
was
that
a
are taking
bus.
buses. All three of these, the other next three are all bus related. But anyways, go ahead.
Okay, so Louise Medeiros. So she had told her family that she would get a bus from the airport. She got off the airplane in Honolulu and was never seen again. Her decomposing body was found on April 2nd near Waikele Stream by road workers. She was still wearing the blouse she had on in Kauai, but had her lower body unclothed. Louise had been raped and strangled with her hands bound behind her back.
Yeah, and then this is the profile here. It says Louise J. Medeiros was a young woman who had lived much of life before she knew how to live it. Textbook style, anyway. She'd left her large family on Kauai as a teenager, opting for independence and uncertainty on her own on Oahu. In 6 years, she returned to. They try to get too kind of clever the way they write stuff. Just give us the, you know. In 6 years, she'd returned to Kauai. I think is that what the island's called? Kauai? I think so. Once for a bowling tournament, and then only called home. Maybe that's a city. She'd been on welfare, gotten in trouble with the law, and lived with the beach people in Makaha. 3 months pregnant when she was killed. Oh boy, I didn't know that. The 25-year-old had never married, had 3 children, and a daughter in a foster home. So, does that mean is that one of the 3 children, or does that mean she has 4 children already born and one's in a foster home? But most of the family worries about their prodigal sister were soothed when Louise came home in March for a reading of her mother's will. The family found her centered and motivated, no longer the alienated rebel. Then the day after the reunion, she was gone, abducted, police assume, from a bus stop near the airport on the evening of March 26th. Huh. That's crazy. So let's see, where's the airport? Is it the Honolulu airport?
Yes, Honolulu Airport in Oahu.
I want to see where that is compared to these other places. That's not it. Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah. Well, look at that. I mean, is that really the airport? Like, so these other bodies are right on the airport.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if that's the airport, I think that is the airport, though. I mean, look at that. That's, yeah, I mean, definitely the airport there.
Oh, yep, I can see some planes there.
See, look how wild that is. I mean, you're looking at the bodies are put at the airport, basically.
Jeez.
I mean, hell, there's planes like these. There's planes literally. Hell, this plane here is probably, you know, a couple hundred yards from the body.
That is
Regina.
weird.
Yeah. So that's weird. She was. So she. Let's see. Let me get back to that again. Abducted, police assume, from a bus stop near the airport on the evening of March 26th. The extended. See, that's just so perfect. I mean, hell, what day was that again? March 26th?
March 26th.
I think he
yes.
was just cruising around all the time in that area, and he just waited for the right opportunities. You know, here's a single girl, you know, like a woman by herself at a bus stop. Here's somebody going into a parking. You know, he probably saw the girl being dropped off at the hotel by the cab, and then he went into the parking structure and kind of looked and saw that she was heading to a car, because the cab driver wouldn't have driven into the parking structure, right? He would have let her out, and she would have went up. So he maybe followed her around. I don't know how many floors there are in there. I mean, that would make that feasible, but, you know, I don't know. Some weird
Yeah,
stuff.
it's hard to know at that time what it looked like.
Yeah. Let's see. The extended Medeiros family lived mainly in Amao area of Kauai with cousins spread around the island. They're open and talkative, but know little about Louise's life on Oahu. She was finally happy. She had found peace within herself, recalled her eldest sister Brenda Durant of the March visit. We were lying in my bedroom. She'd laugh and laugh. She and my mother had a misunderstanding. Let's see. Thought, is that really? Let's see. She thought that because she left home, she thought we wouldn't forgive her. God, look at that. They put the NT on a different line. I mean, I guess you have to do that if you. She thought we wouldn't forgive her. We had 10 in our family. Durant went on. The mother remarried when my father died. She was just one. She was the second youngest. My grandparents helped raise her. She was more of a quiet person, all to herself. She took life easy. She never really finished high school. She had to do things on her own. She was like the hippie in our family. She was a wanderer for a while. She was fighting for the daughter in the foster home to come home. Had we known what the situation was, we would have looked into this earlier. We have 24 kids between Louise's siblings. Wow.
What?
She, Louise's daughter, would fit in. The family is still trying to adopt Louise's daughter, but procedures are tangled in red tape. My sister was having a hard time, thanks Lanky Jen, with the social worker. I said, as long as you don't give up. As long as you don't give up. She had even gone to classes for mothers so she doesn't abuse her children. She was finally able to get housing in Pearl City. Let's see. In high school, Louise was a track star, bringing home medals. Durant said she still weighed about 90 pounds. That's tiny. Too small to fight anyone off, but too wise to go off with just anyone. Too small to fight anyone off. Oh, fight anyone off. So there's no commas or anything, so it's hard to read this shit.
Yeah.
Look at 90 pounds, too small to fight anyone off, but too wise to go off with just anyone.
She was also tiny. Wow.
Yeah, she was a fighter. Even if you grow up with 8 sisters, you always fight. 8 sisters, Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. That's now I'm gonna. After this point, the newspaper came up with a let's see, a kind of a I don't know how you'd refer to it, but they started thinking at this point, after the 4th victim, that there was a serial killer here. Okay, and serial killer theory reinforced. So let's see. This was February 23rd. Although when was she?
Okay, so that came out after.
Yeah, that must have been before the other one. After
Medeiros.
Now, Medeiros was March.
The one we just read. Yeah.
So this is April 1986. The one on the screen right now. So this is after Luis Medeiros, and they were already thinking this was a serial killer. But let me take a look at this other one here. Need more evidence. I don't know what date this one is. Let's see. This one is July 4th. So yeah, that's after. So I think this one here is when they first started saying, hey, I think we got a serial killer here. And they didn't really have that term. It wasn't as readily used as it is now. Like, I think they called it sequence killer or something like that. But Major Chester Hughes, the man in charge, another Hughes, not related. See, it's crazy how many Hugheses there are in this case, right? I didn't pick it because of that. Or you didn't pick it because of that. But yeah. So it says Major Chester Hughes, the man in charge of Honolulu's police detectives, was sitting at his desk dispassionately penning his signature to a stack of papers and fielding questions about the semi-nude body found the day before. So if this was written on April, was there one on April? Well, I mean, when the interview took place might have been whenever, right? It's just when it was published.
Yeah.
Yes, the slain woman had been identified, he said, still scribbling his name. Yes, the police think the murder might be connected to 3 similar killings during the past 15 months. Finally, Hughes was asked point blank if he thought the violent murders were the work of the same slayer known as a repeater or serial killer. Nobody uses repeater anymore.
Oh, I never heard repeater before. That's interesting.
Hughes stopped writing and put down his pen. He removed his glasses and put them atop the papers. He rubbed his eyes and sighed. He put on his glasses, buried his chin in his hands, stared straight ahead, and said nothing. At length, in a voice barely audible, he responded to the question. It's looking more and more that way. Asked if the murders could have been copycat killings. See, that's the kind of questions I go, oh, Jesus. When somebody asks me something like that, that's when I go, oh, God. If you have a case when it's really kind of obvious that it's a serial killer, like everybody's right.
Copycat?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those ones that's so remote. Well, listen to his response. He sounds a hell of a lot like me. Asked if the murders could have been copycat killings committed by more than one individual, Hughes said, it's possible, but highly unlikely. Because he would have to be very familiar with the scenes of the cases. Yeah, so the problem is nobody said
related.
What they should have said to him, is it possible? Yeah, I guess they did say that, though. Didn't they ask that? Asked if the murders could have been. Yeah, so that's what that is. The possibility of a serial killer in the Aloha state had been predicted last August. So isn't that weird? The August before, so when was the, let's see. Yeah, so just a couple months after Vicky Purdy was killed, because the next one was in January, so that's incredible. Just 2 months after Vicky Purdy was killed, let's see. You are going to have to pay your dues for living in paradise, warned Special FBI Agent Roger DePue, administrator of the National Center for Analysis of Violent Crime. This guy sounds like he's right out of that show that we watched.
Yeah, the
right?
Profilers.
Yeah, like he was one of the first guy. I mean, that's pretty early, 1980 something, doing that.
Yeah, because they started in the 70s later.
Yeah, and so he, after that first killing, that's what he said. Isn't that wild? I mean, there was just one at that time. How would he know that?
By the way she was killed, maybe?
Yeah, it's just sort of like, Yeah, maybe there's some details we don't actually know that were in there. They don't tell everybody everything. Analysis and violent crime. DePue's studies showed that kooks and the lunatic fringe were on their way to Hawaii. Oh, that's what he was going. This is what detectives have feared for a long time in Hawaii. Added another source close to the local crime situation. Hawaii lags behind the mainland, so we knew the weird stuff was on the way. God, that's crazy. They actually do shit like that. Like, the United States has weird shit, so Hawaii's going to get some at some point, It's like almost like the weather.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to say it.
After hearing that assessment, Hughes concurred. That would probably be very correct statement, he said. By yesterday, police had released the name of the 4th murdered woman, had added it to the list being investigated by a special homicide task force, and had issued an all-points bulletin for a possible 5th victim who later turned up safe and found visiting a friend. Following a morning-long task force meeting, Hughes said, police have no suspect. He declined to elaborate on what investigators have uncovered so far, but indicated that 2 or more of the victims may have innocently accepted a ride with the killer at a bus stop. See, there you go. 2 or more of the victims, right? And so, yeah, because right now we know that 3 of them were bus related. Something to do with a bus was probably related. And then the other one was a little different, but again, transportation was related. We haven't had anything to indicate these people were dragged off the streets, he said. We hate to say these women didn't practice common sense. I don't want to ever say that. We don't know. We've got no witnesses. Still, Hughes admitted a woman waiting alone for a bus presents an opportunity for a killer on the prowl. You've got a bus stop. You've got a female waiting for a bus. It's an ideal place. Why? You need a ride, right? Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we were just saying at the beginning. I hadn't read this yet.
Yeah.
So it's not weird. you need like that one, for example, Regina Sakamoto, late for school. The guy probably saw her on the phone. She's up near a bus stop, and he's like, hey, do you need help? And she's like, yeah, well, I was late for school. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can give you a ride. And then, boom, she's dead. Let's see.
So he's got a car then, obviously, but he might, on the first one, have been parked in the garage.
Yeah, he could have just parked there and then took her car and then dropped it back and then took his away.
Yeah.
Why, you need a ride, right? You're alone. I'm alone. Hughes also said investigators are trying to determine the mental makeup of a serial killer. Naturally, we are yeah, see, this is like just a little after they were still doing their research. I don't even know if they had, like, what year they actually finally had a really solid database where they could say, okay, this is probably what the serial killer would be like, because that, I don't know if that those guys, that show that we watch, what's the name of that thing?
Mind Hunters, I think.
Yeah, Mind Hunters. Like, those guys, they were just doing the research to then build into being able to predict, right?
Yeah, they started in the 70s, and I think there was that one guy, John Douglas, is one of the first who that series is loosely based on, and he, the one I'm talking about, he was part of that Mindhunter movie, I think, from the 80s.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that movie, but all right, let me finish. Let me read this one. So, determine the mental makeup of a serial killer. Naturally, we are looking at that aspect. No ifs or buts about it. However, he added, to say that I'm looking at a profile of possibly a cosmopolitan individual, probably in his 40s, probably had a bad boyhood, probably had a divorce, etc., 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 would be nice for the paper, but it would not be advantageous for my investigation. Fact is that at this point, Hughes and his investigators have no idea what type of villain they are looking for. What they do know is that Louise Medeiros, Denise Hughes, Regina Sakamoto, and Vicky Purdy, all young, attractive Caucasians, were brutally murdered, and that more than ever it appears they were strangled by the same pair of hands. Their worst fear, of course, is that they won't nab the strangler before he has had a chance to strike again. And that's exactly correct, because this article was April 5th, 1986, and the final victim was killed April 29th, 1986, literally 3 weeks after this article. So, and that just gives me kind of a little bit of a chill, It's like, whoa, that's weird, because he said their worst fear, of course, is that they won't nab the strangler before he has a chance to strike again. I just wish the whole thing would die down, said Hughes, echoing the sentiments of many. I guess it's not going to. And just 3 weeks later, Linda Pesce, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Pesce or Pesce or...
Right. So she was murdered, and now why don't you
tell
me about that one?
Let's see now. So this one is a little bit different in a couple of ways. Okay. Linda Pesce, I guess we could say the spelling, or age 36, Linda was last known victim of the Honolulu Strangler. On the morning of April 29, 1986, Linda arrived at her place of work as normal and left at 6:30 p.m., getting into her 1976 Toyota, heading towards the H1 freeway. Her housemate was alarmed the next morning when she realized Linda had never returned home. And then on the morning of April 30th, her car was found pulled to the side of the road on a highway leading to the H1 freeway, which is at the northeast end of Kihei Lagoon, where those other bodies were located. Right. On May 3rd, 1986, her body was found by law enforcement on a place called Sand Island. After responding to an unbelievable and bizarre tip, which involved a mechanic walking into the police station to say that he was told by a, quote, psychic where she could be found. Pesce had been raped and strangled and was naked and had her hands tied behind her back with a concrete block placed on her back. So she was found on the island where that person that came in to say the tip, the island that he said is where she was found.
How come they all seem to be found like on the land though? Like,
yeah.
I mean, she had a concrete block on her, but she was found on the bank, right?
Let's see if it says exactly. Yeah, Sand Island I don't have any more detail as to what the area looked like, whether that was an embankment.
Huh.
Do you have any articles?
Well, I've got the area again, another industrial area. Just
Sand Island.
Crazy. It's in that same general area. It's like almost like a triangle shape here, and it's weird too if you look at it. He's got one on each point of the triangle. Isn't that strange? I mean, I guarantee it that's intentional. Like it almost seems like how could it not be? You got one on the point. You mean
like there's some symbolism to it?
Yeah, I mean you got one on the point here, you got one on the point here basically, and you got one on where, this other end point. I mean, why wasn't it right there and this one here, I don't know, just sort of when you just look at it visually, you see it on all the different
points. Like a pure.
Yeah. Your audio sometimes goes and cuts out. Are you there right now?
Oh, I'm going to have to do that until
in
a minute.
Okay, your audio kind of cut out. All right, so her car was found right here, just like it said, right underneath this highway here. What was the name? What did it say in there? In your H1 freeway, right?
H1 freeway, yes.
See.
On a highway that was going towards the H1 freeway.
Oh, okay. I think that's what that is. Wow, look at that ridiculous. I mean, I don't mean to. I mean, I could see getting lost there in about 2 seconds. Look at that. I've never seen anything like that in my life. A freeway system like that. Do you see what I'm looking at? Looks like like an octopus. All right, so now I'm going to go to the profile that was in the paper along with the rest of them. It wasn't uncommon for young Marin County, California women in the early 1970s to leave college for adventure, which was just what Linda Mabel Pesce did. She hitchhiked across the country alone. She traveled to Honolulu and worked as a dancer. She's pretty too. You can tell by her, just that picture. She traveled to Honolulu and worked as a dancer in a nightclub. She moved to Guam and danced in clubs. So she probably she military associated both those bases. Guam is military, and then Honolulu has the base there as well. Although Big Island also has one. So, let's see. So she moved to Guam and danced in clubs then moved back to Hawaii several years ago. She was carefree, streetwise, self-centered, opinionated, and a knockout, according to friends and family members. But Pesce left the wildlife 7 years ago after giving birth to her daughter, Corinne Pesce Gooman. Is that really Gooman, or is a D missing?
How do you spell it?
Well,
like Goodman, like it should be Goodman?
Well, yeah, like it just says Gooman. That's kind of weird. Goodman. I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, I've never seen that before. She's known quite a bit of people, and whatever her past was her past, said one of her women friends. Everything changed with her daughter. The friend added, she's a fighter, a very tough lady. Pesce was found dead May 3rd. Her body was, so she went missing on, let's see, April 29th, and then she was found on May 3rd. So
this one, I had also read that where her car was found, so it was on the highway leading to the H1 freeway, which was at the northeast end of the Kihei Lagoon, so close to that area, and that there was a bus stop close by. So they're thinking she may have walked to the bus stop after her car broke down.
Oh, okay. Huh. Did they?
Yeah, she was having problems with her car.
Oh, really? Where did it say that?
Yeah. It was in something else that I had read.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it in any of these. Well, let's see if it's in this article that I'm coming up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pesce was found dead May 3rd. Her body dumped on Sand Island, the possible fifth victim of a serial killer of young Caucasian women. The 1960s divided people. One was either straight or not. In Martin County, the divisions were particularly acute. Rock star hippies and Zen Buddhists shared the same environs with some of the stodgiest of San Francisco wealthy barons. Pesce's family lived in a working-class neighborhood in the Martin town of Kentfield. Her father left when she was 14, and her mother supported the family of two girls. Pesce studied psychology at the College of Marin, I guess is what it is. Of the Pesce children, Linda was the hippie. Diane, so she was kind of like a hippie type. Diane, 5 years and generation older, was straight. We were like, isn't that weird? Like, being a hippie means you're not straight. I always thought that was like something to do with sexual orientation. When someone said,
still the early days then. Huh?
Yeah. We were like night and day, Diane Christensen recalled from Walnut Creek, where she lives with her husband and works at a bank. Her family hadn't seen much of Linda since she moved to the Pacific. The Christensens had visited Hawaii once 8 years ago. The funeral arrangements were handled here by 3 women friends of Pesce's. One of the sisters of Corinne's father, Stuart Gooman. The friends have established the Linda Pesce Memorial Fund to help support Corinne. Donations are being accepted. So that's her daughter, I guess, Corinne. Pesce and Gooman lived here together for about 8 years. Pesce hadn't wanted to get married, so that's her boyfriend, I guess. Friends say the decision to separate was mutual. Gooman, a devoted father I guess he's the father of the child. They were with each other for 8 years, or together for 8 years, but then they separated. Gooman had recently offered Pesce airfare back to California to visit her mother, who was ill. She planned to go in June. A plumber, he was working on Johnson Island when his sister reached him to let him know of Pesce's disappearance. Pesce's brother-in-law, Dick Christensen, talks openly about Linda and if she was a family phenomenon, someone unusual, admirable in her own way, but distant. She had kind of a colorful past, he said. Linda was a very active, gregarious, people-oriented type person, Christensen said. She had an opinion on everything. She was a very bold, fearless type. She'd walk out in traffic and know they'd stop. She liked to shock people with the child. She, I guess there's a comma there. It looks like a period from back here. With the child, she took on a more traditional role. In recent years, Pesce worked for various telephone paging companies in Honolulu. She had worked at Macau Telepage in Kaka'ako selling cellular phones for only a few months when she was told at a meeting the night she disappeared that she'd been promoted. Hey, thank you, Music Soul King. All right. Okay, so let's see.
So that was the last known
that's it.
victim of the Honolulu Strangler.
Now, I do actually have some videos, like a video here on this. So let's play this. This is they were in Hawaii. They were doing on KHON Channel 2. They were going back over some of these unsolved cases. And and by the way, Music Soul King wrote, "Thanks so much, Gray," and well, that's actually Ada, not Audra, but so it's really thank you so much, Gray and Ada. Great job together. But I get what you're saying. You got two of the letters right. You got the A and the. Well, actually, three of them. Look at that. If you get rid of the U and the R, look at that. You'd be pretty close. Yeah. So here is a video on this right now.
History that is rarely talked about. 5 females murdered on Oahu in the 1980s, and police
I'll turn it up a
believe
little bit.
it was the work of a serial killer.
A suspect was never charged, but we spoke with the brother of one of the victims, and he's hoping police can use new technology to solve this cold case.
Yeah.
January 1986. Regina Sakamoto was only 17.
Yeah, she was late for school that day. It was in Waipahu. She was sitting at the bus stop in front of diners in Waipahu.
That was the last time anyone saw Regina alive. She was abducted, raped, strangled, and bound. Her body found floating off Ke'ehi Lagoon. Omar was in the 5th grade at the time.
I used to look up to her. I mean, she would babysit me and stuff like that. And very bookish and smart and fun-loving, everybody's friend kind of thing.
Regina was the second of 5 people whose bodies were found with their hands tied behind their backs.
Oh, look at that.
All
That
were
might be...
female, between 17 and 36 years.
But look, I think now we have a different picture of, I think this must be the first, let me think. Is that, I bet you that's Vicky Purdy, this one right here. Right? Because the other ones I recognize. Or is this her right there? Maybe that's her right there. I don't know.
The one in the middle looks like she might be the older one.
Yeah, so that would be Linda Pesce probably. Although, I don't know. Linda Pesce looked more like, hell, now I'm confused. Anyway, but at least this isn't, now there's a different picture of the one that we had.
Years old. The killings prompted HPD to form a task force that included an FBI profiler who helped put together a profile of the person they believed could be the suspect. He was described as a Caucasian male in his 30s to 40s with no criminal record. The profiler also suspected the killer targeted women near where he lived or worked.
And he's an individual who may be at this particular juncture experiencing marital or girlfriend problems. And the selection of victims is probably the result of opportunity or chance encounters.
Eventually, a suspect was arrested, but he was never charged.
And unfortunately, he has since passed away.
Gary Diaz was head of HPD's homicide detail at the time.
Based on the evidence that we had and the witnesses that we had, because we did have witnesses and we did have physical evidence, we felt we had enough.
What would you like to see happen at this point?
I really would prefer like DNA testing, stuff like that, just to make sure, if the guy's innocent, the guy's innocent,
DNA could have been a much greater asset for us in that particular case.
At the time, all they could do was test for blood type.
And it's useless. in today's age, because 82% of the people of the world are types O and types A.
And unfortunately, back then, there was no cell phone video, and surveillance video wasn't common.
Digital evidence is extremely important toward the advancement of investigations.
It's kind of sad that both my parents,
CCTV.
you know, they're not here to, if it does get resolved, they're not here to see it.
No, there he
I
is,
just want,
right there.
a
Sakamoto.
closure.
Oh, yeah.
We started asking HPD about the serial killer case and the Diane Suzuki and Lisa Au cases last month. Today, we finally learned HPD's homicide detectives are stepping up efforts to review cold cases. That includes looking for untested evidence and any evidence that should be retested using updated technology. And the department has created a database with all the information on what's been tested and what needs to be retested. That should help current and future investigators. So what about retesting evidence in the serial killer Diane Suzuki and Lisa Au cases? Well, HPD says it can't comment on that because those cases are still open, but added, quote, "We will pursue all leads, whether it's from someone who has new information or a new form of DNA testing. We are committed to getting justice for victims and their families, no matter how long it takes," end quote.
Yeah, so they obviously have some DNA, right?
Yeah.
Sounds
When
like-
was this video?
I think it wasn't too long ago, maybe within the last couple of years.
Okay.
It was all and there was even another one. They were talking about how they solved the East Area Rapist, so maybe they can. I mean, I don't know why they just don't find. You know, obviously the suspect they know had a family member, so you get the family member and then you ask them, would you mind if we check your DNA or something? I mean, even if you have to exhume the guy like just get the answer. You know, you gotta give resolution to people. But what was the guy's name? Let's see if we can find him somewhere in these articles.
I'm not positive, but I was reading that his name was Howard Gay.
Yeah, that is his name. Because there's a show called Breaking Homicide. It's a pretty cool show. And they actually covered this case and I actually saw it back then. And it seems like there is a guy that everyone really believes is the killer, but he died before. And even
this is the same guy that claimed to have spoken to a psychic and led their bodies to the place that she was found.
Was that the guy? Really?
I think so. I think so.
Oh, well, there you go. So what was his name again?
Howard Gay.
So he was the psychic.
Well, no, he said he came in with some story saying that he had spoken to a psychic.
And
him
that was for Pesce's body, right? The last one?
Yes.
Well, it just wasn't being. Let's see. So it was April 29th, and then was when she went missing.
Found May 3rd.
Yeah, so it just wasn't being found quick enough. If you notice all the rest of them, he leaves the bright tarps and I mean, I guess on her she had a blue tarp, but the bright, they're all found like within a day. And so this one wasn't being found enough, and then he was like, "Oh, psychic." Like, I mean, you see what I'm saying here? His thrill was seeing it in the paper. And it's almost like when they did this whole 5-person back, what I've been reading to everybody. After that, he was like, "That's it. That's my masterpiece. The breakdown of all 5 of their lives." And then he quit.
Yeah.
Because it was weird, right? Like after those 5 were in there, he didn't kill anybody ever again after that newspaper article that had a breakdown of all 5 of his victims. Just sort of this yeah.
He made like a symbol or something with the.
Well, I don't know. When he put the bodies, it just seemed weird that they were all on the points of a triangle. But let's look this up. I'm also going to put like 1980. Well, was it? Yeah, maybe 86. That's when the psychic would have came forward, right?
Well, no, a psychic didn't actually come forward, but he claimed to have spoken to a psychic.
Right. So let's see.
He should have just called in and said, "Hey, you can find the body."
Here you go.
That's
Honolulu
so
detectives released an EWA beachman, or UA beachman, from custody yesterday after about 10 hours after he was arrested in the investigation into the slaying of Linda Pesce, 36. Howard Andrew Gay, 43, was booked at the Honolulu police station at 4:40 a.m. While in custody, he talked with members of the special task force of detectives assigned to investigate the April 29th Pesce death and the death of 4 other women. He was released pending investigation. The investigation is continuing. Wow. Let's see. Beyond that, police refused to answer all questions about the arrest and the release. Sources indicated that the city prosecutor office raised questions about whether there was probable cause to make an arrest. See, the thing is I don't believe in psychics at all, right? So obviously some of these prosecutors and stuff believed in psychics. You got this guy showing up and saying, "Oh, I found the bodies because a psychic told me." Really? To me, that's a confession at that point.
yeah.
I wouldn't believe that whatsoever if somebody told me.
Oh, you think they believed him?
It seems like it, because I think that's what they're saying. Why else? I mean, if he did
Well, they
come...
started concentrating on him after that because they thought it was very suspicious.
Right, but that's enough. That's an admission to me. Claiming a
Yeah.
psychic told him is just bogus, you know? It's like, that's
Right.
giving credit to psychics. It's wild, you know? Legally, police must establish probable cause that a person committed a crime before they make an arrest. Deputy City Prosecutor Peter Carlisle. You know what's amazing is the guy was 42 years old, exactly in that range that they were talking about.
Exactly.
God, that's amazing how accurate they are.
So they got the profile right. What did he do for a living?
Let's see. Carlisle was the police station again yesterday before Gay was released. He declined to comment on any aspects of the case. The same probable cause standard is set for the police filing charges as for grand jury. Let's see. According to law, police must release a suspect immediately after deciding that the arrest was an error because of lack of sufficient evidence. There are specific facts that surround each event and subsequent event. In such cases, said, Well, that's enough, though, right? Because he admitted. Let's see what else we got here on this guy. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I know, it sucks. It's like, really?
Sounds like bad police work to me.
Yeah, it's terrible. Let's see what this says about him. That's a different one. May 9th. Let me turn back up a little bit of music. Just have something. So these two papers actually, well, that's the same article. Let's see. July 4th. I wonder if they just made some technical errors, like they realized that they broke the law, like kind of like in the Rachel Del Tondo thing, and they just kind of let him go. Let's see. Marsland faults police handling of suspect. Information in serial killer case. The city prosecutor's office was not consulted before police arrested a suspect in the serial murder case in May and was given incomplete information about the investigation, Prosecutor Charles Marsland said today. Marsland said police forwarded the results of their investigation into the murders of possibly 5 Oahu women at the hands of a single killer to his office. Oh, wait. I'm probably really loud, I just realized, because I never turned it down. All right. Is that better, everybody? I'm probably screaming into your face.
It was okay.
Let's see. He said his office reviewed reports of the investigation received on June 13th, but wrote Chief Douglas Gibb on June 24th saying there was not enough evidence for grand jury action. Deputy City Prosecutor Peter Carlisle, one of 3 prosecutors assigned to the case, put it even more strongly. Obviously, everybody in the world would love to solve this case, he said. But at this time, there simply isn't enough evidence for us even to remotely consider getting a conviction, let alone going to the grand jury. Marsland said the police did not forward FBI reports finding from search warrant that had been executed or medical examiner reports. But what bothers the prosecutor even more is that the police did not consult his office before arresting Howard Andrew Gay in May, who was released without charges 10 hours later. Why does he care so much? Did his ego get hurt or something? I mean, it's weird, some of this kind of crap like this.
Yeah. I have an article that says that, so he was arrested on May 9th, and then apparently his girlfriend told police that the man was a, quote, smooth talker who had an interest in sexual bondage. His ex said that the suspect often had sex with her after tying her hands behind her back.
Yeah, there you go. That matches that. Which
and then other facts that made this man a suspect was the suspect's ex-wife said that each murder coincided with a domestic dispute between the couple.
Really?
During these fights, the suspect often left the house and did not come home again until the next morning or during the early morning hours. And the suspect worked as a mechanic near Lagoon Drive and lived on Ewa Beach, EWA.
Yeah, I mean, he's even Caucasian, just like they said.
And then it says, amazingly, this man was let go by Honolulu detectives even after he failed a polygraph. So this is an article. I don't know how accurate it is, but it sounds. And then 2 months after his arrest, an unidentified woman came forward and told police that she had seen Pesce with her killer on the night of April 29th. When this man was brought in and stood before a police lineup, the eyewitness successfully picked him out. However, she ultimately refused to cooperate because she told police that the man had seen her as well. So I guess she was scared.
Yeah. I think there's just as many serial killers, percentage-wise, of every race. There just happens to be, in the United States, more white people. Somebody just typed in, there's a lot of white serial killers. Yeah, there's a lot of black serial killers, too, compared to the population. There, you know, it's like, you can have, if 2%, let's just throw out a number. If 10% of the population were serial killers and there was 1 million white people, you would have, what is that? 100,000 serial killers. Now, and then if 100,000 people are, let's say, black people, and 10%, you'd only have 10,000 serial killers, right? But I think the same percentage is, being white doesn't make you predisposition to be more likely a serial killer. I've never believed any of that crap. I just think it's, you hear it all the time because, yes, most serial killers are white because there's more white people living here. That's just the way it is, you know. It has nothing to do with race, in my opinion. And as we've seen lately, there's serial killers of all different races.
So it should be pretty easy, you would think, to get the DNA match to one of this guy's relatives just to either eliminate him or say, yes, this is him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at this. I found an article that seems to have a bunch of pictures in it. What's this guy's name again? Howard Gay?
Howard Gay?
It says something, Howard homosexual. Was he really a homosexual? Or, I mean, why does it say that right underneath this?
What?
It says Howard homosexual underneath the picture, and then investigative discovery underneath this link.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it's actually,
Well, his last name is Gay. I mean,
Oh, I see. Maybe they're just joking around. I get it. Maybe this isn't a legitimate link that I found. Well, it seems like it's talking about. Yeah, well, they're kind of. It's weird because they call the Honolulu Strangler and then quote breaking murder tracks a serial killer, right? But it's actually called breaking homicide, right? So again, they took a word and then used the alternate word. You see what I'm saying? I wonder if I think they're intentionally doing that. I mean, it's kind of weird, right? Because I was thinking, wow, that's weird. They called it breaking murder, but it's actually breaking homicide. And then down here, you got the guy. His name is Howard Gay, but then they put homosexual there. That's pretty crazy. Anyways, and look at, they even refer to him up here. Look at, I don't know if you can see that, but you know, Gay was a middle-aged Caucasian, but they use the other word. Male who is some methods match the duty drives profile. They describe the Caucasian male in his 30s to 40s with no prison report. The profiler additionally suspected the killer focused ladies close to the place he lived or labored. After police discovered Pesce's bare physique on Sand Island, they arrested Gay. They keep putting in. I'm gonna get it off of here. I don't know what the hell that is. That article.
So it says that he lived on Iwa Island, or Iwa is out. Can you see where that is compared to where the bodies were found?
Yeah, they were just doing a play on words there, but I don't know what the hell kind of article what that was. I don't, that. What are you looking at? Let me look at this one. Yeah, this is Breaking Murder. Is that the one you're looking at? Oh wait, did they just completely take this site? No, it's the same damn one. Huh.
You know, on that show that you saw, that Breaking Homicide?
Yeah.
Do you remember it saying that it was suggested by investigators that he may have killed 19-year-old Lisa Au in 1982?
Well, that one was actually brought up on that show.
Yeah,
the same show, the same you know that thing I played a minute ago, the video? They were doing an expose on different, it was like every week or something they'd bring up other unsolved cases, and that was one of them. Yeah, but they didn't associate it. You know, I'm going to go watch that again.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
Because I didn't really know anything about it at the time, so I probably, it soared by in my head, things that now I'd go, oh wow, look at that.
Oh, so you happen to have seen it not because you were looking at this, but you remember you had seen it before?
Yeah, I watched it like a year ago. Yeah, I didn't.
How weird.
But I remember as soon as you sent it over, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this one in Honolulu. Okay. Yeah, and then even that guy they have in the picture, I think this guy on the screen, I think that's like a brother of one of them. And then there's that detective, this big Hawaiian guy.
Yeah.
He was on the show, too. I don't see it right there.
So on your map there, Lagoon Drive. Oh, that was one of them near where one of the people, because he was a mechanic near Lagoon Drive. That was mentioned on one of your.
Yeah, Lagoon Drive. Let's see.
On one of the routes that the.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Maybe it was Sakamoto.
Well, Lagoon Drive is where Regina Sakamoto and Vicky Purdy were found. Yeah,
so it says here that he worked as a mechanic near Lagoon Drive, and that he lived on Ewa Beach. That's EWA.
Okay, let's see. I bet it's going to be north of Pesce, without even guessing. Let me without seeing it. Come on, let's see. All right, let's see if that works. I'm going to back out now. Put the pin in. Ah, almost. It's right there. Well, that's actually south, but it's at the same. I meant when I'm saying north is where I was viewing it like this. That was an error. It's like this. So it's as far west as them. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it looked like his hunting grounds were over here, and then he kind of. These ones are leading closer to where he lived. That's kind of what I was looking at. I learned a lot about that kind of stuff doing the April Tinsley, because just looking at that, you could sort of see Like, okay, he's probably over around in this area, based on the note positioning. And it was amazing how accurate the FBI was in that one. They actually said northeast of Fort, what's the name of that town in Indiana? Fort Wayne.
Can't remember off the top
Fort
of my head
Wayne.
right now.
It's Fort Wayne, yeah. So they said it'd be like northeast of there, and that's exactly where it was. And it's funny how close we actually got to where he lived when we did that one trek down the road with the mailman. Yeah. So this is crazy.
They had a pretty good profile on him, the FBI.
Yeah, they did. It was hard to read.
Very, very detailed.
Yeah, it was hard to read it, really, and it was so accurate. Yeah. Like it was like unbelievably accurate.
And I think they did that in 2009, maybe, and then 2016 they sort of reopened.
Yeah, that's when they did Parabon and all that
stuff.
Yeah, so he lived over here. He'd go hunting here, and then occasionally he was like probably on his way back from hunting and went, "Oh wow, check it out! Look, there's somebody right here on the way back," because it looks like that's how you'd get back, right? I mean, look at right here. Just check it. Look, there's no bridges anywhere, right? So let's say the guy lived over in this area, and he drove down here, and he was hunting, doing his thing, and leaving the bodies around this area, and then he's coming home. He'd have to drive all the way around like this, because I can just see that there's no long bridges. It's amazing. You'd think they would have just built a bridge right there to save time. But like you have to drive all the way around, and it's like, whoa, wow! At the last second, he caught a glimpse of an opportunity, and then he heads back into town here, where he lives. I mean, that's where she ended up anyways. I guess we don't really have like where was Louise Medeiros picked up at, that kind of thing.
Hers was the one with the
Honolulu Airport. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's when
maybe she was waiting at the bus station like the others.
Well, she took a flight back to Honolulu Airport, and she told her family. I'm reading what you wrote. She told her family she'd get home by bus from the airport. And then she got off the airplane in Honolulu and was never seen again. So I guess we'd have to know where she lives, and could she have gotten off the bus, or was he, I bet you anything, he was at the airport and was just kind of like, oh, I'm heading over there anyways, and she's kind of a risk taker type and was like, yeah, sure, and then she got killed. That's
she lived in Honolulu, so maybe it could have also been where she got off on the bus towards home, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it could have been at the airport.
Yeah, I mean, if she got off the bus, though, I think it'd be less likely for her to need a ride or try to be any engaging at all with somebody, though, right? Because you're already...
And also that airport is exactly where his triangle is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if she got driven home, I don't think she would have then got into another car with somebody. So I actually think, he was probably, this is his hunting grounds. I mean, this is where she's a little bit of an outlier. The biggest outlier is actually Vicky Purdy. She's sort of different. The rest of them, I mean, she wasn't even... I mean, she was found in the triangle, but
there would be no reason for her to accept a ride because she had her own car.
Yeah, it's almost like he tracked her down, and then I think your theory about him taking her car and then coming back could be pretty good. I don't know if they have surveillance or anything like that. That would...
They might not have back in 1985.
Yeah. So.
In Hawaii.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, anyways, I think that's kind of it for now. I mean, they did have somebody. I think you guys should go watch Breaking Homicide. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Breaking Homicide. And see if you can, just watch it, know the story. But they still technically, there's nobody that's ever been arrested for it. I mean, I guess he was arrested once, but he was never charged.
Never been charged.
Right. So.
Apparently, he did move somewhere stateside. I don't know where. So who knows what he got up to?
Right. So what's the next one we're gonna be doing? Do you think we'll do the I-70?
Okay, the next. Well, if you went in the order of
Do you have
that
it?
top 5,
Yeah.
then the next one would be
The I-70 killer.
the I-70 killer.
Yes, the I-70 killer. Maybe we can do that on Saturdays. You know, serial killer Saturdays for a while, right?
Okay.
Yeah, how about next
Providing
Saturday?
there's no breaking news or something comes up.
Yeah, if something big comes up, I'll have to do that. But cool.
So go over the 5 and then
Yeah.
put it into a condensed video type thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
To see, like, people who are not your regular subscribers might find interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like what I should be doing is right now, like in the next couple of days, record myself covering that whole that section and then just save it. Right?
Okay. That sounds good.
Because now it's in my head, right? Like we've already
fresh in your head.
Yeah, like I could actually just watch this show again and then store it, and then later after we do the next one, do almost like a mini podcast on my own, and then put it all back together.
Yeah, because if you wait till all 5 are done, and then you might
Right. I'd forget
it might
about
not
it.
be so fresh.
Yeah, and everything would blend together. It gets like that a little bit just in the cases that I cover. It's like you're covering so
Especially
many
before.
of them, and you're almost like, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's not as hard as you'd think to separate them, but sometimes you just, if somebody brings up a name of somebody, I'm like, who's that? And they go, oh, remember the person? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, all right. Well,
Okay, so are you going to do any more cases tonight?
yeah, I might just hang out on here but I appreciate you coming on. I know that
Thank
2
you.
hours. That was fun, actually.
Oh my gosh.
We always
time
have
flies.
fun. Yeah, that was 2 hours and about 2 hours because we started at
It's
8:10.
about 2 hours.
Yeah, but that was cool. I appreciate it.
All righty then.
Good research. I'll do the same thing with the newspaper articles on the I-70 killer. I think that works pretty well because you get sort of the feel of what it was back then too, right? Like the initial reporting.
And if people have some ideas, just
That's right.
throw it in.
That's right. If you guys find anything interesting, send me an email. All right.
All right then. Then I'll be
Okay.
signing off. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Thanks, Ada.
Okay, bye.
That's right. Yeah, that was good. What did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy that? I thought it was. I mean, I actually was. The 3 of those cases I hadn't even looked at yet, so it was interesting to be seeing it as you're going and doing the research on the air, because that's what I said I was going to be doing, and it looked like the same kind of modus operandi on all of them. Most of them. I mean, they're very similar, all 5. But do you guys think there's anything to what I was saying? Like, don't you think that's a little weird that you've got, like, on the point of each of the, like, right like that? I don't know, maybe that's just the way I'm looking at it, but I don't know if it means anything. I thought it was strange, though. Yeah. Of course you don't, Amazing Grace. Even if you did, you'd say the same thing. Yeah, I don't know if it does or not. It just seems weird how it's like at the end of all those. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Watcher. I have no idea what you're referring to. It wasn't you. What does that mean? A big powwow? Yeah. Well, thanks, Daro. Why don't you should just put that into Ada's money thing on Facebook. No, that's okay. I just think what I think is sad is that people care about all the drama on the other channels to watch that because it's more interesting. Listen, if you're not into true crime, then just don't be into true crime, okay? But if you're into the drama shit, go do something else. There's lots of channels with drama and bullshit like that. So you can go, you know, as a matter of fact, if you're into the drama, don't come here. All right? That's what I'm going to say right now. If you're into the drama shit that's on those other channels, that's on a nightly basis, and that's how they get their viewers, then don't come here. Okay? Because I don't want people that think that's fun to watch being here. All right? It's embarrassing. It's like freaking, oh, I'm really into true crime, but I also like watching reality TV with these idiots. Okay? Well, you just do that and don't come back here. So if you came here after that shit, just take off and go back over there. All right? Stupid, dumbass shit, man. I mean, we had a really interesting show, and you're over there watching bullshit? God damn. What an embarrassment. All right, anyways, I don't know. Now I don't even feel like doing a damn show anymore. Just morons. Unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, you just got here, huh, Sarah? I always see you over on the drama channels. Every night, basically. It's just unbelievable. Jesus. I mean, what's interesting about it? It's just scary. The same shit. That's why people watch CNN, because it's fake, but it's interesting. So, oh, look at that. Oh. Actually, nobody watches that channel. Anyways, let's see. That's okay. You don't only have to be subscribed to me, but why don't you guys subscribe to channels that actually cover crime if that's what you're interested in? Because if you think that those people give a shit really about any of this stuff, you're wrong. All they care about is the drama and getting everybody worked up and fired up and have everybody talking about them in that way. And it's really meaningless. It has nothing to do with anything. You get what I'm saying? It's absolutely meaningless shit. Yeah, I just watched the Stone Phillips Dahmer interview again today. Just every time you watch it, it's just unbelievable. I've watched it like 4 times already. Nah, you can't block anybody from getting comments on videos. It doesn't work like that. YouTube doesn't do that. They don't just sort of go, well, we're going to block comments, but you can still have videos. That doesn't happen. Either your channel's blocked or that's it. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. So if they're claiming that, that's not true. I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. And if that happens to a channel, that means you did something, right? It doesn't just sort of randomly happen. Now today, well, it was weird. I think there is glitchy shit going on YouTube, though. That's a true thing. That there is glitchy stuff going on. because I actually saw somebody subscribe to my channel and the number went backwards. Okay? And then the missing person video that I made earlier had 117 views on it for about 3 hours. And then I even emailed YouTube and said, what in the hell's going on here? Hey, thanks, Chicky's mom. I said, what's going on here? And they said, they didn't say anything back. And then 2 minutes later, I looked at it, and it was at 711. So an exact flipping of the numbers. I have screenshots of it. I didn't make it up. All right? Or I didn't have a dyslexic moment. I don't know. I don't know about that, Sarah. I just think people are inventing things. Creates drama. I mean, I'm having little number issue type things like that. Though. Then it said 711, and here's what was funny about it. When it said 117 views of that video, it had 135 likes. So then that's what I said when I emailed YouTube. I said, how is this possible? Okay, a person can't like it more than once. If you hit it a second time, it dislikes it. So it had 135 likes and 117 views. And then an hour later or 2 hours later, it said 711. Oh, now it made sense. So there shouldn't be drama all over the place. That's just crap that happens sometimes. Glitchy shit. Then they fix something. I don't know. Why would they block somebody like Stephanie Harlow's comments? I don't agree. I think it's an accident. I think tomorrow it'll probably all be working again. There's nothing weird in her comments, you know? Like her videos are just regular videos, you know? There's no drama going on at all. And I guess, who cares? You know? Just do live videos and people can comment. And, you know, the comments below it, I mean, it sucks, but your video's still out there. People are still watching it. Yeah, why don't you see if maybe go check and see if she's accidentally hit the wrong setting. Because you can do that. You can hit disable it. What's the horse thing mean there, Amazing Grace? I don't get it. Yeah, well, anyways, I guess, I mean, is this happening like on a cluster of channels? Like literally like a certain, you know, the Chris Watts group of video makers? Yeah, I've seen DeFranco talk about it every once in a while. You know, I mean, I see some of the stuff, but what he's saying is that his videos are demonetized. Okay, like he'll have a video, and that's what Harlow says a lot too, is that her videos are demonetized, but you can easily get them monetized. You have to contact them, and then because I mean, here, I'll show you. Let me show you my channel here. See, I think people just, you know, a lot of times don't understand what's going on. You know, they'll just say, oh yeah, look at it. You know, it just creates drama and everybody gets excited. Look, so here's my video manager right here, right? It's about to go there, just a second. All right, so that missing persons video now is 1,050 with 175 likes, right? But look down here, see this yellow one? The one that says, wow, Kelsey Barrett and Cheryl Coker updates. It's a twin thing. Finally ordered my. Love your show. What did you order? Did you order a mug? Right, so see right here how there's a yellow symbol? That means it's limited or no ads, right? And then I sent it in for a manual review, and then he still came back confirmed by manual review. But then even after that, you can send it in and say, listen, I don't think you're right. And then they'll literally manually review it. So when there's this little computerized manual review, I guarantee it nobody's manually reviewing that, okay? Guarantee it. But it's probably got a little bit more of a, a kinder algorithm or something. But then I think somebody really does look at it later, right? So I've got that one, and then look I've got two more here. Active shooter at Henry Pratt Company in Aurora. Confirmed by manual review. Leaving Abbey, confirmed. But all the rest, a lot of them are like that. Confirmed, not near, I'd say 10%. And like this one right here, you see this button right here? It says not suitable for most advertisers. Now I can hit requests for review right there because it has over 1,000 views. And I think it pops up. Yeah, and then right here it says limited or no ads remain, blah, blah, blah. And then I say request manual review, and it says you have over 1,000 views, and was it in the last 7 days? Probably not in the last 7 days, but who knows? Okay, so I'm just going to send that in, and they'll write back in a day or so saying, I'm sorry. So some videos, they deem to be not suitable. That's just the way it is. I don't know why, What really sucks is when you spend a lot of time, like Harlow does. She spends a lot of time making a video, doing a bunch of research and then reading. She kind of reads, or she doesn't read it, but knows what her next idea is, and then does it. It takes until she gets it right, and then she goes on to the next points and things like that. So though it sucks to put together that much time and then have them just deem something to be not advertising friendly. Yeah, okay, well send me a link. I just I don't know. So that's what they've been doing all night. People are just over there watching a drama about somebody not having a comment section. So that's more interesting than actually looking at crime. See, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, really. I mean, I could see if you were a YouTuber and you're over there watching it because it affects you. But if you're not a YouTuber, why do you give a shit? I mean, has nothing to do with anything about crime. It's weird. Strange. So, I mean, I could see like a bunch of us YouTubers getting together and talking about it and seeing what we might be able to do about it. But to go over there and watch it for hours, like, the comment section's turned off. It's weird. Oh, by the way, the Blazers won today. I couldn't believe it. I was sleeping and I woke up, and then all of a sudden my TV, I turned the TV on and it says, "Oh, game's about to start at 10:30 in the morning." Never heard of. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It was in Philadelphia, but my God, 10:30. That game was over at 12:15. No, I like Stephanie Harlow. I mean, I've actually talked to her on the phone a few times. We're friends. If her channel isn't shut down, though, I don't care. Then the comment part isn't that big a deal. Okay? Oh, God. There's Dara with her zip lip bull crap again. But thank you, everybody. Gray's Warriors aren't in... Yeah, why aren't they in good shape? Well, they don't have... Is their center not playing? I don't even know what that... Is that a smiley face or an embarrassed face? The one that has the rosy cheeks and the V-shaped lips and the bug eyes. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll get it all. Well, what are you shocked about, Daro? I don't get it. That's what I don't understand. What are you referring to? I just... You got a zip lip and then a shocked look. About what? Oh, Jesus. You're shocked about changing the subject? No, I don't get it. I don't get what you're talking about. What's your zip lip thing mean? Just type it in. I don't know what you're referring to. Yeah, I don't know what the little V lip thing... It looks like a embarrassed look or something. Oh. It doesn't mean it. Oh, I know what it is. You just know that the zipped lip thing... Well, it's not going to change the subject. I think it sucks if, if comments sections are being turned off, but if it's not shutting down your channel, that's good too. Although, you want people to be able to comment underneath your videos, or what's the point, really? You don't have any feedback on how it's going or anything, right? But if your channel's not shut down, then, I mean, I think you can just communicate with YouTube and say, hey, why is my... They have a chat section now for channel owners, for content creators. They have a chat, apparently. I don't know what you're saying, Amazing Grace. Yeah. But I do think there is something up right now with the entire... I mean, it's amazing. It's the numbers. I mean, even Daro has said sometimes we'll be talking and it'll just be like, oh boy, must be another glitch. Like today, it was mathematically impossible what happened. 135 likes and 117 views. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I mean, is that a horrible thing? Is that a true statement you just made? By Potato Glam? No problem, Lanky Jen. Yeah. The sad part is YouTube Red doesn't help at all for the creators, okay? Because you see the breakdown at the end of the month, how much you make from YouTube Red and the other one, and it just sucks. I mean, it's like you do get something from it, but it's like literally, it's a joke. No, I'm reading the comments though, okay? So I can't hear you, but I can see what you're typing. So, but comments like that are weird, yeah. I'll say that for sure. You're a little strange, Amazing Grace. Well, a little's being kind, but... And that's not your real name, so don't care if somebody says something. That's what I always think is hilarious. When you cut that... Let's say you diss on somebody with a fake name. Like their name is Big Bogwood Zangbala. And then you say, you're an idiot. And they go, oh, you're so mean. What do you care? That's not even your name. All right? This is my real name, all right? So that's the thing. This is my real name that's on here. So when people diss on me, then that's really me. But it's weird when people have fake names and they care. It's amazing. I mean, think about the mindset of a person who thinks that they were bullied and they're not even using their correct name. It's not even a real name. It's a fake name. So they go, "Oh, you're bullying me." No, because nobody has a clue who you are. You could be an alien from Mars who signed in somehow through some secret encrypted channel. Nobody has a clue. And people throw around the term bullying way too much. You know, it's not bullying if somebody comes on and you go, "You know what? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're an idiot." Okay? That's not bullying. Bullying is if I continue to follow you around on different platforms and kept going and going and going. Okay? That's what that is. All right? Quit overusing the term. It's ridiculous. Yeah, like Flossie Flo there, right? If I said, "Hey, Flossie Flo, man, you're crazy," would you go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Oh." No, because that's not your name, all right? "How do you know it's not my name, Gray? I could have been from a town called Flos Flores Scintillizer, where we..." Hey, Joanne. All right. Yeah, I guess I didn't get the memo when they say, "Hey, if you start a YouTube channel, don't use your real name." I just thought everyone was supposed to be honest. Hey, good night, Lanky Jen. Thank you for showing up. Listen, Lanky Jen is not a bot, okay? I know it seems like it because she always says such positive things. And I don't pay her anything. All right? But she's literally not a bot. I mean, look at that. Everything she says. Gray's the best ever. He's this and that and everything. Anyways, thanks, Lanky Jen. Well, the Warriors are good because they're the best record in the West, but they just turn it on when the playoffs start. But I don't know if they can just do that this year. I think everybody else has caught up with them a little bit. The Blazers right now, they picked up Enes Kanter, and they also have Rodney Hood that they got. I mean, we're looking pretty good. I mean, look at this. The last 2 games in a row, our centers have had over 40 points and over 20 rebounds combined. That's crazy. Like, you never see that shit. Yeah, see, Sarah McConnell is probably Sarah McConnell. That looks like a real name. I mean, why would you invent a name called Sarah McConnell to try to trick anybody? I mean, it's just sort of, well, I guess that would be a good trick because it'd be like being, what do you call it? Like reverse psychology. Yes, my name is Jack Simpson. Right? Oh, that sounds normal. Okay, yeah. Every time I see Sarah's thing, I always think of na 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 na. Those little hands sticking up by her sides of her head. Yep. I think if you're a YouTuber, though, you should have to use your real name. Like, if you actually have a channel with supporters and Patreon, I think you should have to use your real name. And that would keep a lot of the idiots that make videos that bash other people from doing that. You know, like the clown. Remember the one where the other day, this one channel, it was like this. Look at. I go like this, right? Look at this. I go like this before the show starts. I'm kind of, looking at stuff. And he made a video about how I move around, right? Like how I move around a little bit. And then I was thinking to myself, oh, wait, I'm supposed to look like this then. All right. So there you go. I'm going to start my shows like that now, right? I'm just going to sit absolutely still and stare at the screen. Because apparently you can't look around at anything. Yeah, it's ridiculous, all right? I know I've said that a few times on here because I just thought that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I know. I would think I was nuts if I saw that. Like, if I showed up and I saw anybody doing that, I would freak out, all right? But for those of you missed it, you obviously missed, we went over for 2 hours, Ada and I, we went over the entire Honolulu Strangler case. Each victim, we went through where they were located, everything like that, where their bodies were, where they went missing from, where their bodies were found. Then we even talked about the probable killer, but he was never arrested and he died before, or he was never convicted and he died before that could be determined. But I think they have his DNA. So tomorrow, make sure you go back and watch that. Yeah, well, the tracks are already, let's see. Some are made by one person, but the name of the channel is related. Yeah, I actually do think, I think if you're a YouTuber and you're making videos, like Mark Dice, right? That's his name, right? At least I'm assuming his last name, I'm pretty sure that's his name, right? I think Stephanie Harlow, that's probably her real name, I would imagine. I've got my real name. And then there's that, what's the one guy that's got like a million, he does a little quick story, DeFranco, right? That's his name. See? Yeah, you should, Tiva C. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Okay, that's not her last name? Okay, I don't know what her last name is. Yeah, John Lorden's John Lorden. Okay. See, I think you got to respect that. They have the guts. Some people might say we weren't thinking, but yeah, they have the guts at least. I mean, I could have changed it a long time ago, right? Like once I was getting the heat, I could have switched over to something else because nobody knew what my voice sounded like or my face. But I still kept the same name. There was a moment where I could have changed it, but I didn't do it. Right. Well, you just don't have the guts then, I guess, Flossie Flo. Yeah. And by the way, I don't know who's a YouTuber or not. Like, I don't know if Music Soul King actually makes videos or not. I don't know if Verbal Constipation makes videos or not. From Potato to Andrea. Well, I'll take Andrea's better. It's more real sounding anyways than Potato, okay? I'll give you credit for that. Now, I'm not sure if Audra Blankenship is real, though. It's too cool of a name, right? Like, how could you actually have a name that cool sounding? Audra Blankenship, right? There's something about it. It's a little too cool for school, you know what I'm saying? That's right. Tonight on NBC, Audra Blankenship and her take on Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer. She sits down with Jeffrey and talks about all the heads they found in his house. Yeah. Some of which he ate. Perhaps ground up and had as hamburgers. In fact, he gave sandwiches to local people, and we don't know if they were actually humanoid. Yeah. BS Flags kind of had her and I sort of had this weird falling out on the side. She was doing some weird shit. So don't worry about that. That's not her real name anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yes, Charlton Heston. Soylent Green is people. Yeah, Logan's Run and Soylent Green kind of have a similar premise, right? Yeah, so if you haven't seen Soylent Green, the movie starts off with Charlton Heston's character. He's kind of like this futuristic cop, basically, and there isn't any real food anymore. Like, this old guy sneaks him in a steak and this kind of food that they never get to eat. People don't get to eat this. They eat this stuff called Soylent Green. These little cookie kind of looking, like these little cubes of food, just garbage, really. And, you know, by the time the movie's over, you realize that when people reach a certain age, they go to these facilities and they get to listen to beautiful music and they get put to sleep, and then they're wheeled back and brought to a processing facility where they're converted into food, and everybody eats those same people over and over again. What's weird is that means you're eating the same people make up people. Like, you're eating another person when you're eating the Soylent Green material. And then when you die, your whole body makeup is made up of somebody else that you ate. I don't know what you're talking about, Amazing Grace. Sorry. Oh, she is still there. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Good to know. Thanks for letting me know. Thank you. That's from, I think, like 1970 something. Like, so I'm going to guess 72. All right, let's just type it in. Soylent Green. 1973. Sorry, I was off by a year. See, right there.
How many times you been in trouble with the
Gotta love Charlton Heston, man. He's the best.
Can't hear you.
Never.
Captain. Where did you go with Simons?
You means death.
We gotta stop him! Somehow!
Stop him somehow! Soylent Green is people! Yeah. There it is right here.
You don't understand. I've got proof. They need proof.
Oh yeah, you can't see it.
I've seen it happening. They've got to tell people.
Tell them what?
The ocean's dying. The plankton's dying. It's people. Soylent Green is made out of people.
You know, what's funny is that's exactly what he looked like on Planet of the Apes. Like, the fact that they ever remade Planet of the Apes is embarrassing. The original Planet of the Apes was incredible. Okay, so the thing is remember when he's looking at the Statue of Liberty? Damn you all to hell! Yeah, it was awesome. You did it. Yeah. There's a lot of movies that they try to remake because they can't think of new ones. Like, for example, Red Dawn, for example. Like, look how great the first Red Dawn was. If you kind of like action, because it was just it was a good movie, all right? It was I would call it a great movie of that genre, right? But then they tried to make a new one, and then China got upset that they were going to make it, so then they sort of try to change it around. It's just so stupid, the whole thing. Like, what are you doing? I mean, Red Dawn had every famous person in it, right? Like, what was it? Swayze, C. Thomas Howell. He always plays roles in different shows, if you notice that. And then also got Sheen, I think, was in there. Ali Sheedy. Yeah, all of them. Yeah, even he was in there. Ralph Macchio, all of it. Sometimes, Andrea, but most of the time I'm feeling like I want to go live, you know? But there are times where I'm like, people are like, great, you going live, and then I'm not really feeling like it, but I end up feeling like it before I go on. There's been a couple times where I've gone on and I just didn't really feel like it the whole time. Like before tonight's show, I wanted to go on, but then my stomach started feeling funny. But then my wife gave me what Darrow told everybody to always take, the ginger ale and 7-Up or whatever, and boom, fixed it right up. So thank you, Darrow, for your, yeah, it was you, yeah. It was Darrow. Probably older than you, Amazing Grace. Older than you. Well, thanks, Andrea. Well, the thing is, you know, I've thought about trying to make this where I could do my, yeah, I know, Canada Dry. I don't want to say Canada though. Okay, I just want to say ginger ale. All right. If Canada ever starts paying their fair share of the North American continent's military costs, I'll start saying Canada Dry ginger ale. But until then, they're out of luck. All right. Pepsin. I'm not really sure what that is. Well, what? How old are you, Amazing Grace? Yeah, I remember when I was in Australia, remember the, what are those things called? The cockatoos they have over there? They were like, you'd walk by and they say, "Good eye." Of course they would, but. Yeah, well, how old are you, Amazing Grace? Because if you ask me, I'll probably ask you first, and as soon as you tell me, then I'll. Yeah. I'm 50 something. How about that? Yeah, hello there. That's when I was kind of like, wow, that's so weird that a bird actually has an accent over here. Well, yeah, because they imitate the sound of the people that they're living by. It's not like they're all going to have American accents, right? I mean, yeah, Pepsin. I can't remember what Pepsin was. Isn't that some sort of something in a, like candy or something? It's really nothing, but they pretend it's something. Well, thanks, Natalie. Yeah. Yeah, I eat fish oil, or take fish oil every single day. Hey, I got to tell you, if any of you have eczema on your fingers, like they get really dried out or something, just take fish oil for probably, I mean, just drink water and fish oil, and it goes away. It fixes all of it. It's crazy. Not sure what the deal is there, but definitely works. Pepsin is baking soda? Yeah, try it. Get the really good fish oil and just take it regularly, and it's actually really good for you in general, for your heart and everything. So I would recommend everybody take some sort of omega-3 fatty acid. I mean, whatever you want to do, but I would recommend fish oil because That's what works for me. But and I don't know if it's actually the omega-3s that is making it so I'm not getting eczema, but my fingers used to get really dry and crackly. And my heels used to get like that too, where I'd have to actually scrape them off and everything. But now they don't get like that at all. Nah, I don't agree with you, Honey Hush. My stomach's fine. I look 36. No way. What's so good? Fish oil? Jesus. Hey, Lanky Jen, I thought I turned off your bot about an hour ago. I mean, I tried to trick people when I had the bot say, "Well, good night, everybody. This is the best channel ever." And look, you, sorry, well, not you, but when I tried to reprogram it, it came back, and now you're saying nice things about me again, but not about the show. Oh, Honey Hush, okay. Well, 53 is my age. Just to let you know. Everybody, it's been said on the channel a million times. And I'll be playing golf tomorrow again. I don't know. Maybe I'll come. I don't know. I might take a break tomorrow night. I don't know. Yes way. Yes way. What do you think? I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely some of my joints feel 53, trust me. All right, so where was all the drama tonight at? Like, where was it like a whole bunch of channels got together on panels and started talking? Oh, well, thanks. Wow, that's the first positive thing Amazing Grace has ever said to me in all the months she's been on here. Oh, see, that is a bot right there. This is a bot. What's up, Zoids? No responses required, as this is only a bot. I literally didn't type that in, but it doesn't seem like my... Oh, it has been coming on a little bit. Every once in a while. Okay. Now, I think Blue's 6. We don't really know for sure because we got him from somebody else. Right, a couple of the drops. Rubbing alcohol on the drum. Yeah. You gotta love Blue. You gotta love Blue. Come here, Blue. Come on, Blue. Come here, buddy. See, that's when he just says, screw you. Look how comfortable I am. I'm wrapped up like a cocoon, and you want to wake me up? Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to make this video too long, but I appreciate everybody showing up tonight, doing the, maybe we'll do a flyby over Honolulu here. Now that the Honolulu Strangler episode of the 5-part series on unknown serial killers. Let's fly by. Oh, look how crazy that is. Wow. That's like the inside of an old volcano right there. You know, I think that'd be the last place I'd want to build a house, though, you know? Like, right in the center of a freaking volcano. I don't know. That's just me. Where did you get called that, Lanky? Oh, you think so? Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Problem is, people like drama so much they didn't find a cool show tonight that we had. All right, but I'm gonna say thanks to Richard Canick early on, Kit Kat, Joanna Sarmento, Lanky Jen, Music Soul King, Lanky Jen, Darrow, Chickie's mom, and it's a twin thing. All right. And then let me check something else, because I know that earlier somebody sent me something on. Let's see. Oh yes, and Nina sent me a donation on PayPal. And also Rachel McCarty on PayPal as well. So thank you very much. And let's see. Okay, there it is. All right, getting set up for the flyby now. Let's transition over. You like that little... As Darrow would say, good night, freaks! Forget Canada! Forget Canada! Yes, Kaka Canada! That's pretty cool flying through there. Come on. shitty free health care. Yep, shitty free health care. Wait in line for years, and then you go to America to get like something if you need it now. Hey, maybe I'll just keep flying by. I want to go through this section right here. Yes, I'm still here. Lanky Jen. Bot 9,000. Right inside the building. Good night, freaks. Boom! Alright. Yeah, we did 2 rounds of that sucker tonight. Anyways, thank you all for showing up tonight. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's too bad we didn't have more people watching tonight on the first serial killer Saturday almost. I don't know if that's what it's called, but we just happened to do a serial killer show tonight on Saturday on the Honolulu Strangler from 1985 and 1986 who suddenly disappeared after the 5 victims were all profiled in the newspaper in bold print. I don't know if that's why he quit, but who knows? It could have been that they were onto him too at that time, because he did claim that a psychic told him where Pesce's body was, and they found it, and then they always thought it was him, and it probably was him. There's a lot of other stuff that points to him being the killer. They just never were able to convict him of it, so it's still an unknown serial killer, but probably is that guy. So go watch the show that was on TV. I think it's called Breaking Homicide. It's a good show. All right. So that's it for tonight's show. Thank you again. Have a great rest of the weekend. And until next time, be safe out there.